What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Club and Country. This is episode number 40, and we're starting today's episode off with two big bids here for Ravi Matondo and Brandon Cooper as well, two of our most important players in this team. For Cooper, it came from Steaua Bucharest, 13.3 mil, but of course we rejected it, and from Watford, Ranieri putting in a £24.9 million deal for Ravi Matondo. And of course we said no. Matondo scored on the opening day, second highest scorer in the championship last season. He's going nowhere. However, I was fine accepting this bid here for Denham. As you've seen throughout the course of the summer window so far, we've been culling a lot of our squad who are very lowly rated in their 20s now as well. That's going to continue. You saw the four names on the shortlist. I alluded to them in the last episode. They're my four main targets for this year's summer window. You got Ethan and Padu, you got Joe Rodham, you got Ben Kapango, and you got Chris Metham. At the moment, we can't afford any of them. We've got around 9 mil in our budget, but they're all out of our price range. So I'm sitting there thinking, you know, it's all well and good getting these little small bids and these small amount of money for, you know, the squad players here. But it's not raising our transfer budget enough to bring in those guys. So I'm starting to think if maybe, just maybe, we will need to sell a Terry Taylor or we will need to sell a Brandon Cooper. It's not something I want to do. But if we are to afford one of those, you know, let's say better, higher quality centre-halves with higher potential, it's something I might be forced to do. Otherwise, we'll have like 9 mil in the budget. Yeah, we won't be able to bring anyone in, and it will just carry over until next season, with the only two signings being Gareth Bale's regen and Norrington Davis on a free transfer. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe we'll get lucky between now and the end of the window. Still, for the first game of today's episode, on the back of the opening night loss to Middlesbrough, as we're currently ground sharing in South Wales right now, taking a Rotherham away, the Millers of the New York Stadium. This was such a frustrating game because right from the very first whistle, I wanted my first win this season, and I wanted it in match day 2. I dominated straight from kickoff. I was getting chance after chance after chance. I just couldn't take any of them. And with 20 minutes to go, one of the best ones falling here. Humphreys, 8 yards from goal. Bends one onto the post, and the Millers would clear, and that was how the game would finish. So after shipping 3 on the opening night, I was glad to get our first clean sheet of the season. But when you look at the stats here, how I didn't win this game, I don't know. 14 shots, an XG of 4.1, and I failed to score a single goal. Yeah, just absolutely frustrating as hell. But as I always say, good is not good enough on Ultimate. You need to be much better than that. But still, this did make me happy to see it. Yes, in the last episode, we had that kind of little bit of a worrying thought. You know, I'd expanded our ground at Rodney Parade. I put roofs on all of the stands. We haven't filled the corners in yet. We haven't got that budget yet. But I've made sure there's roofs on all the stands, and we've upgraded our capacity by 10,000. The stadium expansion is complete. I don't know why it didn't happen on match day 1 of the season against the Borough. I don't know why the stadium wasn't ready. But we're back at Rodney Parade. We're back home. It's the new look stadium. And yeah, taking on Scunthorpe United. First game at Rodney Parade this season back home. I was thinking, okay, it's the EFL Cup second round. It'll be nice to win in our first game back home. Well, it wasn't going to happen. 27 minutes in, we were 2-0 down. I was getting sliced open like a hot knife through butter. I simply could not defend. No surprises there. But again, this was awful defending, by the way. Absolutely terrible. But again, I guess I wasn't too surprised. I picked a totally weakened lineup for the game. To be honest, I was just pleased to see the new look stadium expansion had been completed. We lost the game by 3-0. Hardly how I wanted to return back home for our first game of the season, getting booed off at full time. But even so, I guess if nothing else, I'm pleased to know it's happened. I was really nervous. Like in the last episode when I did the stadium expansion at the start of the season, I thought I'd ballsed it up. I thought I'd done something to not save the changes, and we were going to be stuck at a generic town park without the actual stadium name being allocated Rodney Parade. But thankfully, as you can see here, it just looks great, doesn't it? The stadium expansion, the new look Rodney Parade. Or else we might have lost the first game against Scunthorpe United. The first championship game was going to be a South Wales derby against Cardiff City. The only one, of course, we'll have this season. As we know, Swansea City got relegated last season. They actually got relegated here at Rodney Parade on the final day. So Cardiff City, the only South Wales derby we'll have this season. But I was really excited for it. First South Wales derby of the season. First game in the championship back at the new look Rodney Parade. I was excited. I was really excited despite the fact our first 3 games in all competitions hadn't seen us pick up a single win. So for this one, our 4th of the campaign, our 3rd league game, our 2nd one at home, but our first technical home game at Rodney Parade this season, I was thinking, right, gotta make sure we get our first win in this game. I dominated against Rotherham away. I just couldn't take my chances. In this game, I had to be more clinical. 31 minutes into the game, first goal of the championship and a new look Rodney Parade. And who gets it? It's the man who's so good they named him twice. Lloyd makes it 1-0. And at the moment, as you see by my lineup, Mark Bound, Gareth Bale's regen, I'm keeping him on the bench because I like Lloyd. I really do. He almost bagged a brace a few minutes later, smacking one into the side netting as it was still 1-0. But in the first half, it was all Newport County. I was really imposing myself on this game. I felt like I needed a win on the back of a really poor start to the season. And right before the break, a great ball by Rabi releases Ruben Colwill, and the former Bluebird scores against his former team. I know I should have showed respect, but I couldn't resist going to the stands. I'm just so happy the stadium expansion has now been completed, and Colwill, the former Bluebird, scores against his former team, makes it 2-0. I was thinking, okay, 45 minutes in the books, first half down the drain, we're 2-0 up, and surely this is our first win in the championship. Unfortunately, what I didn't account for is how bad my defending was. 20 minutes after the restart, Kiefer Moore plays a great through ball and White drills into the bottom corner. It's 2-1. Cardiff half the deficit. But thankfully we held on for the win. Yes, first win of the season. It took 4 attempts, but there it is. We win in the South Wales derby. It's the first win over Cardiff since the series began as well. Last season we drew against them at the Cardiff City Stadium and then lost at Rodney Parade 3-0. But I was really pleased to know our first win at the new look Rodney Parade comes in a South Wales derby. I thought that was really fitting. And it looks great as well. The stadium upgrade looks really great. And I will say as well to EA as well, I don't know why it didn't go through on match day 1 of the season, but you have to give props to them for this as well. This is something we've wanted in career mode for a very long time. The ability when doing an RTG to upgrade your stadium as the years go by. You know, put roofs on the stands like we've done, fill in the corners. You know, just if you want, I suppose you could like build a new stadium and move into like a 50,000 seater. You have to give props to EA for that, because just like the development plans, it's something that people have wanted for a long time. And I don't want to jinx things, but it does seem like EA are beginning to listen a little bit more. If not give us like all the things we've been asking for many years, just a couple of things here and there as the years go by. I definitely think that's a great improvement for this year, the stadium upgrade. It makes RTGs a lot more realistic. So yeah, following that, our final game of today's episode, 4th and final one, the Baggies away at the Hawthorns, taking on West Brom. Last season, these fixtures against West Brom were really good, but also really tense as well, with both teams desperate for a playoff place. Taking on West Brom, I have to say, we should have taken the lead early. Humphreys played this incredible ball through to Rabi Matondo, but I remember that highlight there. My thumb slipped. I went to smacking it with Matondo, and my thumb slipped on the circle button. That's why the shot was so weak and it had no power behind it. I totally bottled it. Just slipped with the thumb and only lightly feathered touched the circle button. But even so, it was still 0-0. Great save by Price, kept it goals. Then Humphreys was denied as we were still tied at 0-0. And 34 minutes in what was a really action-packed game here. Both teams knowing what's at stake. We'll both be going for the playoffs come the end of the season. Oh, Price, I tell you, man, I can't ever be too critical of goalkeepers in this year's FIFA because, as we know, they're just really inconsistent, and at times they make mistakes. As I will continue to say, it's a good thing because it's realistic. Goalkeepers do make mistakes in real life, which should happen in FIFA as well. And they're going to give props to EA for that, for realising the goalkeepers aren't robots. But I don't know. Should I be criticising him for that one? I mean, the shot was hit with a lot of power, but it was straight at Price. Squirms underneath his body, and he just couldn't claw it off the line. West Brom in front probably should have been kept out. However, 2 minutes after the restart, we were back on level terms. It was Bound! Gareth Bale's regen! And I love it as well. It was Alan Bound to Mark Bound. The Bound brothers linking up. Great through ball by Alan, who for now is staying here. And Mark Bound. Gareth Bale's regen. We're still not 100% sure, but he gets his first goal for the club and fires in the equaliser. And late on in the game, I was really going for it. I could have sat back instead of drew it away at the Hawthorns to be a good result, because it would be, but momentum really shifted in the second half. I had really good opportunities to win the game in the late stages. First, Alan Bound denied as it was still 1-1, and with a minute of normal time to go. It's the Bound brothers linking up again, ball into the centre, only half dealt with, and oh, what a sitter. Ruben Cole, who scored against Cardiff, fails to hit the target. I don't know how on earth I didn't test the goalkeeper there. Should have won it later on, the 2 chances, sadly could not squeeze in the winning goal. Final score, West Brom 1, Newport County 1, and our tough start to the season continues. 4 games in, just a 1 win on the board in 12th place right now, just a 5 points. The board won automatic promotion, but like I said, that's going to be a tough aim. With 9 million in the budget and transfer deadline day around the corner, I might have to do something special if we just sort out this tough start. But that will end today's episode of CNC, guys. Big thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. If you haven't, please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you for the next episode of CNC featuring Deadline Day very soon.